Hey, everybody. This is Intramind here, giving you a director's commentary for Sandguardians Season 2, or as I'd like to call it sometimes, Sandguardians Season 1 Part 2. Because basically, this was released around 2012, 2013, like 1 or 2 months after Season 1, quote unquote, remastered. And Yeah, and this season uh just basically everything was upgraded. Like I finally had I think 4 controllers so I could have multiple characters on screen. And obviously having multiple controllers, and I'm doing pretty much everything by myself production wise. Controlling characters just with 4 controls all at once by myself obviously was a challenge, but I really needed I really needed, I needed you to see more characters on screen. And I think that's one reason why Seal in this scene was camouflaged. I think just in case, just in case I only had 2 controls or whatever. But thankfully that worked out. And kind of going back to the first scene. I know we're in Sandbox right now, but kind of going back to the first scene, when Dax, or actually the song choice is called, "What You Want" version 2 by Kevin MacLeod. And when I originally just like thought of this season, I wanted to use "A Little Less Conversation" by Elvis Presley in that scene. Obviously, I couldn't because of copyright. Didn't want my videos to be copyright, to get struck with copyright. But eventually it did. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, that's originally how I wanted to start the scene, just with those characters listening to Elvis Presley, and still arguing about it. And I know I mentioned Cale McLeod, which is a reference to Kevin McLeod, the royalty free. He's a musician. He makes royalty free music, just for a lot of stuff, basically. So yeah, like, and in terms of production for a Sand Guardian season, I usually have the first 1 or 2 or even 3 episodes on lock. Like, if I can get through a quick rundown of a behind the scenes of just like, or just an explanation of how each season is made, like from start to finish. I start off with a season guide, which I just write pencil on paper in a notebook, and I just write down each episode, like season 2, for example. It'll start with episode 17 and end with episode 32. I want 16 episodes in the season. So I'll just list out, 1 through 16, and just kind of write a synopsis for each episode, like a 3 or 4 or 5 sentence, paragraph of what each episode is about. And that takes a while. That takes a long time because of just life and me being lazy, and just, I have all these ideas and I don't know how to structure them. And I got to think about, okay, what maps do I use? There's so many characters. How do I balance everything out? So that's a long stage. Um, but once I'm done with the season guide, the full season guide, I have the synopsis for every episode written out, at least vaguely. Like for this episode, for episode 1, it would be like Dax, Jason, and Seal drive through the desert, complain about music. Maybe 12 days earlier, with Claire spying on Blues, having a conversation with Thomas. Wilbur still beating up Miller. And yeah, and now I'll just kind of make a little bit of detail about what Claire and Thomas talk about, because that's the meat of the episode, essentially. Um, so once I finish the season guide, I start writing the scripts. And I still, the way I do it with the first 3 seasons, I would write the scripts for maybe 1, 2, or 3 episodes, and then I would start producing them. Like, say for this episode, once I um release episode season 2 episode 1, I'll be writing episode 4. Like once episode 1 is released, I'll start doing some voice work for episode 2. Just start working on episode 2, but in the meantime, I'll be working on like episode 6 or whatever. Like, I make sure I don't start the next episode until I have until I'm ahead of myself in terms of like writing, because I don't Yeah, it took me a while to start writing all like literally writing the scripts for all the episodes before I get into like voice work and that other kinds of production, like machinimating and stuff. Back then, I just wanted to get episodes out, So the story sometimes suffers, unfortunately. Like in this episode, oh god, this infamous confusing episode, which I always remember a commenter was confused about it, and I kind of realized like where did I come up with this idea? Like because the commenter was kind of right. This episode's pretty confusing. It's like it's in Gates's head, but somehow we can look into the future, and I tried to incorporate that in the season about yeah he was right, but like how was he right? How did he know? And I don't know. Like sometimes you just have to you try to retcon it, try to make it make sense, but like there's really no shame in saying like, it wasn't the best written episode. That's kind of. I mean, I watch a lot of stuff. I just if I try to point out confusing writing, but you can't be perfect. Like for me, it's like if I was trying to be perfect, because I mean I already consider myself sort of a perfectionist, but like if you try to be perfect, you're never gonna get anything out. So for this, it's you got to keep practicing and making sure your writing is makes sense and is on point as best as you can. But there has to be a point where you stop and like, I think this script is good enough. It's never gonna be 100%, but I just want to make like for me, it's like I just want to make something. I want to get to the next point. Well, I personally do obviously have some problems with this episode. I like, at least in this season, even the previous episode with Claire and Thomas's conversation. This episode, I start to really kind of get into the Sandbox characters, and some new characters that are going to come later on, like Dax and Jason's really big in this season. Seal's big. Gates and Claire are really big in this season. Even Miller and Wilbur, and Legend too. Um, and I guess like with writing sometimes like like for me like this is a machinima, it's in Halo, so of course I want to have a lot of action, but um sometimes you do get moments where when there's nothing going on, okay, how can these characters just talk about what would be like, and it's not as hard as at least for me, not as hard as I think, like having those character moments when characters are just talking about what they like and what they don't like, and just talking about themselves or talking with each other, having those relationships. I like writing shows with about friendships and like arguing, because that's just something I've always struggled with in my real life. Being pretty quiet, a bit of a loner, and just kind of writing stuff around friendship and just groups of people and talking and everything like that. Like that's one reason I love Red versus Blue, which is a big inspiration for the show. Um, yeah, it's that's one thing I like about writing stuff like that. And for this season, season two, I really kind of started getting more inspiration from like Lord of the Rings, specifically with like Dax and Jason, just like traveling with Gollum, but instead of Gollum, it's Seal, this like badass alien. uh, so I thought that was pretty funny, and the whole Keith David thing here is uh, a reference to the Arbiter, who Keith David voices in
know
Halo.
we stole their starter. Who the hell could have replaced it? Nonetheless, drive it.
Gates, I'm afraid I don't have the answer to those questions, but I know the effect of it is something you need to be aware of.
Yeah, it's
Aware
it's
of what?
yeah, it just
I
makes no
sense a
sense
white being
sometimes.
coming to Sandbox, and when he arrives, everyone will be in great danger.
One thing, yeah, one thing
Legend,
I definitely had trouble with,
White
because these two
people.
characters are talking
a
about
man as white
the
as
main villain
snow
of
is
the
coming.
season, which is
Do
the
you
guy
think
in
he
white.
has something to do with the
And
blue team's suspicious activity?
for Dax and Jason
Or am I
and
missing?
Seal, I
I don't have
knew I had a
answers.
good idea of what
Whatever the
obviously I
hell's
wanted them
behind
to
it,
do this season. I
I want
wanted
you to
them
keep it
to
close.
go on this adventure,
And I think you'll kill anyone
meet
that gets in your
some
way.
new characters, fight some bad
But
guys, basically, simple stuff.
whatever he's
And the
looking
reds and
for is
blues were
here, you mean?
hard. Like the
So he'll
reds,
just be
it's like
killing
I don't
misfire
know what I
soldiers for
really
no
want them to
reason.
That's why
do
you
here,
gotta write your
because
teammates' voices.
again, I never
But
really
how?
established the foundation of like what these skirmish soldiers are like what do they
First,
do? Why are
you
they
have to wake
fighting? I
up.
never really answered that
Wake
question.
up.
So,
Wake up, Gates.
um,
Wake
like
up.
I
I'm
said, I
trying,
mean,
I'm
I've
trying.
said it before in the previous commentary, I
Maybe you're
believe.
being a little
I
quick.
really like writing arguments, and that's
What the
when
fuck?
the characters are allowed to
Why
be
did you just turn
fully
into an alien?
real. If that makes
Uh-oh.
sense. Just like
There's Adrian.
how would I say it?
Now turn around.
Uh, you can just be honest with each other because when you're
Wait,
arguing,
wait,
it's
wait.
just like you let everything out. You're so
Before I
angry,
go,
you want to be
will
honest
you
and you
take
want to,
turns on the other
you're
side with me?
passionate and everything
No.
like that. So, and it moves the story along. Obviously, that's conflict. Having arguing and everything like that. So, I thought that was I
Gates?
usually write like
Gates?
if I need some conflict, just have the
Gates, can you
characters
hear me?
argue. And it's something I'm not really a person who raises their voice or gets angry a lot. So this is a good outlet for that when I
Gates,
write
I
arguments.
I can't believe you're alive. Holy
And the
shit.
whole 12 days
We
earlier
thought you
kind
were
of
dead.
thing,
Can you believe this, man?
timeline,
Well,
I haven't
you're
even
alive
thought about
now.
it. Like
And what the
this, how
hell
many
did you guys
days
do
this
to
season
me? My
takes,
body
or
was
like how long
throbbing.
this happens or that happens. Because when
Well,
when you set up
here's
a
the funny
date,
story. You see,
you have to like
after you got
really
shot, you fell
do
into a
your
coma.
homework for the rest of
You
your
were pretty
show. Like you
quiet the
really got to
first few
pay
days.
attention. Wait,
But on that
like
fourth
in
day,
that
oh
episode, you said
man,
it takes place this
that's
many
when you
days,
spotted
but
the blood coming out of
that
you.
contradicts what's going on like
That's
now
when
and
you
everything.
found
Like
out
when you
that you had
make
a
a
big gash
timeline,
in the
you
back of
have
your head.
to
I
stick
think
to
it
that.
was 4
Because
inches we
when it
measured.
comes to like
Yeah.
not just like
So
I feel
then
like with
you
any
turned
show,
around and
continuity
you
is
saw
like
another gash
if a
on your
show
back.
sticks to continuity,
Huh?
that's awesome
Yeah,
because
and your spinal
fans
column.
do that.
Oh yeah, I
Fans
forgot
like if
about
they
that
really love
part.
a show, they get into the
So we tried to
details and they
fix
want to know
everything
how
back
long
up.
something takes or
We pretty
when
much
this
took care of the
event took
gashes ahead.
place. And
But
when you
when we got to
have
your back,
a show that
we
does
ran out
that,
of the
that just
soap.
sticks with the
What?
continuity
You
correctly,
stitched me up by using soap thread?
it's
Yeah.
a it's a
But
good
when we
thing.
ran out
It's
of
something
that,
that
we
the
switched to
audience
staples.
like.
You
I feel like
used
Breaking Bad's a
staples on my body
good Breaking Bad,
too?
like
Yeah.
Better Call Saul. That universe is a
But
really
then
good
we ran out of
example of
that
like having
staples.
really good
So we ended up using
continuity,
super
and
glue.
even remembering like the little
Super glue.
details and
You
certain
used
characters that
super glue on
appeared
my
in one
body.
show appearing in
Don't
the prequel and
worry,
everything like
Elmo.
that.
It did the
Just
trick.
really making sure it's like
But
really
then we pressed
connected. Like
your
I
spine
personally
back
love
in.
that, but
So we had to
it's hard
open
to
your
do.
gash back up to get to your spine. I'd have to say that it was the most
So
repulsive moment of my
this
entire life.
season,
It was
I know we're still on the
blood.
second episode.
So we checked to see if
It
any
is
glue was
longer.
cracked or anything.
I don't know why I
And I
said that,
think
but like
we put
obviously
glue
it's
back in the
longer.
correct order.
But it
And
has
they were
still
about the same
comedy
size,
in there,
right?
but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I the
Anyway, we reglued the gash
drama
and we got
slowly kind
home.
of comes
The
in,
surgery took
and
2 full days.
once we get to the next
2 days?
season,
What did you
it
guys do
you
for the
know
last
it'll
10?
it'll
Mess
it'll
around, maybe.
increase
You never
the
woke up,
drama.
so
I
we
mean,
assumed you were dead. Ahem. Oh, um, on
and
a
of course, I
side
started
note,
off
your team no longer
this
has the
season
Warlord.
because I had to
Huh?
remind myself, yo, this
For
season's not getting like a
instance,
remaster
you
or nothing.
promised
So
Gates to be paid every
the reason I
time
call
he
it like
gets
season
into a
one,
war
part
call.
two is because I feel
Unfortunately, we can
that
no longer pay
um,
Thomas because he somehow spent all of the money in our save
I feel
bucket
that
to
how do I
secretly
say
buy
it?
parts to fix the
It's
Warthog.
everything's like I said, everything's kind of upgraded. I have more
How did you get
controllers. You
our
can see more
account
characters on
number?
the screen, but
Miller is a
like
very
I had a
cool
DVD
guy.
recorder,
Oh, and
so
he knows who Miller really
I
thinks he
had
is.
mostly everything I
What
needed
the fuck
to,
is
and I was
wrong with
still
you?
working with Sony Vegas
Gates,
Pro.
that's the same thing
I
as the
pretty
one
much
you
had
were allowed
everything
to
I
do.
needed to make a good season,
Well, I guess
essentially.
I feel my second nutsack.
And it was getting
Well,
I
you
wouldn't say it's
see,
getting a lot
what
of
had
recognition,
happened
but it
was
was getting
you
a
were
bit, at
kind of
least in my
in a
tiny
moment of,
community,
not
like
feeling
on the
right,
RVB
and
wiki,
you
which
needed help.
was my community back then.
Pop? No. Zydeco? No. Alternative? No. Jazz, electronic, royalty free? Come on, man. There has to be some type of
There
music
now
you want to listen to.
you can really
No,
see
Dax,
Seal.
I don't want to listen to any music. I just want to enjoy a nice, quiet
But I
drive
feel like this
with some
season honestly
arguments.
still suffers
You
from
know what,
like
Jason? You're
there's not a lot of
you're such a
world building, which
go on, say
I
it.
struggle with,
I
just because
dare
I just
a
want to get into the
buzzkill.
story.
You know what
And
I think of you,
I
Dax?
could like I have
You're
an idea, a vague idea of like the world building. I just like
yeah,
sometimes
that's
when you
right. You're
write it
handsome. You're a
and you release an episode about it and
oh
everything,
there,
you have to
crabby
stick to
phantom.
that. Like
Holy
you
shit,
can
you're
have as
right.
many ideas, but
Yeah,
once
you're
you
some
write those
ugly phantom.
ideas down and like
Well, what's
throw
new
them
with you?
into the wild,
That's
like that's canon. You
Guardians
could
Galaxy
have like,
hijacked
well, I
by
originally had
Paradox
this
to start
idea,
fighting against the UNC.
but I had to change it for this
Right.
episode. But now I have to
Well, maybe
stick
it
at
looks like
whatever.
we
Like I
could
have to
get a
stick with
guardian.
that certain idea.
But
So
what if we run into enemies? We could be
if you're
setting
if you
ourselves up
like
for a
world
trap.
building, then
Well, we
yeah,
have
more
to
power
start
to you. Like
somewhere,
that's
Jason.
it's
Where's the
fun, but
resolution?
it's
Our lives?
my world building for
Come
Sandguardians.
on, what's
A
the
lot of
worst
it's
that can
still in my
happen?
head, so it's just a matter of time before I really write that down. And as we continue, kind of it's now we officially have a few at least two storylines with Dax, Jason, Seal, and with everybody else at Sandbox.
Icky! God damn it, Private Ichabod, get the fuck out here!
You know, you wouldn't have to yell if you just say it right the first time.
So yeah,
Fuck yourself. Now listen,
finally getting
did this all go
like I said,
right
getting
side
more
up
character moments with like Legend and
right side
Ichabod.
down?
It's still a bit of comedy. And like I said, the Sandbox storyline was definitely more difficult to figure out because they're still in this one place, and why aren't they fighting each other? Like the Blues are at a disadvantage. What's going on here? Now we finally have our first introduction to our villain this season, the guy in white. Oh, I do not. Well, that wasn't bad.
Impossible.
And for the blue visor was because this was 2012 2013, so Halo MCC, Halo the Master Chief Collection, was not released at this point. So if I recall, to get that blue visor, it was an accident. It was an accident. I wanted to have a way of like showing that the guy in white has this equipment that he's using to find. He's like searching for seal or whatever. He's scanning the area. I used this radar jammer as a scanner or whatever, but the visor was an accident because I originally just had it was gold. When I was in editing, I just had it was gold and everything like that, but I just thought it was so boring. Like it's like, well, it doesn't really look like he's doing anything. It just looks like he's looking, you know um
Is that the blue base?
but I think I masked it, and I tried to like add some glow or something, and I ended up, I think, doing what's it called? Um, like if you go into like Vegas Pro or any editing program, I feel you go into opacity and you change it from like darken or multiply or something like that. I went to one of those settings, I think like subtract or whatever, or invert or something, because it went from orange to blue, and the way I masked it, it just fit really nice. It was almost perfect. Basically, it covered the entire helmet and changed it fully blue. So I'm like, okay, that's not bad. And I had to repeat that with in certain shots. But it came out pretty cool. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Let me make sure I never do that again. Because like I said, like that effect was a happy accident. So let me make sure I don't redo that again. And like the time I'm recording this, Halo MCC allows for different visors and everything like that, colored visors, and even like armor. And I really do have to be careful when I use certain armor, because I would love to just use any armor willy nilly. But like if something happens, or if one account doesn't have a piece of armor that another account that I have has, I got to make sure each account has as much armor as possible. Like and this is Halo 3. I think only one account had like maybe the scout shoulders or whatever. And I had to make sure, like, if I make a character with scout shoulders, like that specific Xbox account that character always has to be controlled by that specific Xbox account. So in order for multiple characters, or in order for like if multiple characters are gonna have all these like these two characters here have to have like crazy armor, I got to make sure I have at least 2 or 3 accounts that have all the armor as much as possible. And I still got to be careful. Like even when Halo MCC came out and I started using it, I would still sometimes use the original Halo 3, because there's some things like in my original Halo 3 game, I have like a file where you can have no weapons, and you can't really do that in MCC, at least not yet. But yeah, I got to make sure that like no matter what game I'm using, like if I have a character with a blue visor, I can't boot up the other Halo 3. I gotta make sure I'm using the MCC. just to make
Gives me a
things
reason to
consistent.
get up in the morning.
May I ask what is it that you do?
So we have this one-off character, Ollie Johnston, which is a reference to the Disney
You're
animator
wasting
Ollie
my time.
Johnston.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to.
I kill people.
And I made sure I made his armor
I'm very good at it.
basically made his armor similar to Thomas to emphasize that he's an engineer, but he's higher level.
Someone killed. The problem is, I haven't killed anyone lately. I haven't been doing my job. I don't want to get fired.
The guy in white, his voice was
The feeling of seeing the thing on the
I don't know what approach I took with it, honestly.
Seeing their muscles
At least I can't really remember.
seeing the sweat run
It was just basically maybe like an evil seal, like a very kind of overdramatic, theatrical kind of voice, and like a voice that would make me uncomfortable, like very deep and very like sinister and kind of seductive, something like that, and yeah, just make it uncomfortable.
Please. Did I forget to mention that I have a master's degree in identity theft? Please.
I hope they came across as scary.
Okay, so
And really quick, not really quick, but like those Guardian Towers,
Well, Jason
I gotta explain how that works, because it's just like, I don't know. How do characters get out? Why would they set up this base and where these Guardian Towers can literally just kill these people if they try to get out? Like, what the heck's up with that? Again, just world building needs work.
No need to get defensive. You've been in a
Now
coma
this
for a
is
long
we're on
time, so
episode
maybe
we're on the
experiencing
4th episode of
some
season 2,
grand
but
turnaround
overall
will
this is
help
episode
you.
20,
Post-traumatic
and
stress disorder. My great-grandfather had it once he came
it's
back.
kind of like with
So crazy.
the Reds being confused about Gates' vision is kind of it's supposed to be the viewers or some viewers who are confused by that, and the viewers are justified in being confused because like I really, that was just not great writing. But regardless, this scene is one of my favorite scenes of the season. I really like Gates and Thomas and Wilbur especially, just like really, it's kind of like his defining character moment right here about like how he views his teammates, his sexism,
I'm sorry.
his ego, just
What do you make of all this?
all of that.
Well, sir, I actually believe him.
And even with Claire, like believing Gates, like shows that like, hey, she does trust him. She's not just, and she wants to get out of Wilbur's shadow, essentially.
Listen, baby. Let's be realistic here. A conscience can't tell you about the future. Gates was most
And
likely
even
just having
Gates,
some sort of
I
weird
see
freak.
him as
More
like,
like a complete
hey, that's what
ridiculous story.
Fuck you,
Wilbur
I
is
know
what
I
Gates
had.
could
Hey,
be.
Gates, calm down. Now you're gonna stay here and rest until we debrief you. Thomas, I want you to stay here with him and make sure he doesn't do anything crazy. Great, I get to spend more time with a mentally annoying engineer.
More Gates and Thomas banter.
Yeah, and I get to
I
spend
guess
more time
Thomas
with
is
Mr.
kind of a
Perez.
mixture of Lopez and Doc,
Claire,
I'd
I want
say.
you to join Miller on top of the base and keep an eye on those blues.
He's an engineer, but
Lookout duty
he's always gonna be
again?
pushed around like Doc
Sir, don't
from
you
Red
think we
versus
should be
Blue.
discussing a counterattack plan now that the Blues are pretty much, I don't know, defenseless?
Look, baby, I know it's repetitive, but soon you and I will have some alone time, so, we could...
Don't touch me. And I'm not your fucking baby either. I never was.
I love arguments. I love writing arguments.
Women. You give them a brain and they think they control the whole universe. The fuck are you looking at?
It's very interesting. Like, I've never really had a scene with Legend and Wilbur talking, which I'm disappointed because they're completely different characters. Honestly, just so freaking different.
Seal, slow
There
down.
you go, Seal.
Wait.
What is it?
I do like this scene. It's a lot of, kind of continuing that dynamic of Jason and Seal being like close, because they were the first ones to, well, Seal was kind of, well, technically Dax was the first one to see Seal, but Jason was the first one to befriend Seal.
Ready for anything.
Seal! Seal, we need to... let him go. He can take
Something
care
about
of
this
himself.
episode, I like it. It's very, I like short episodes. I think this episode's maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and I think the pacing as well.
Oh,
You know,
come on,
there's
man, you're being paranoid.
um,
Seal needed our help.
an action scene about to come up.
How about you and I just chill in the Warthog and listen to some tunes on the
And,
radio?
we get some more
Get our mind
dynamic
up.
between Dax and Jason. It's probably even worse now because now you probably can't even tell. If it wasn't for the head
You see,
bobbing,
that's the
you probably
spirit.
really couldn't tell
98.5 it is.
who was who. Like, seriously, there are literally some times where I'm voicing one of the characters and, like, say Jason, and I have to make sure it's really kind of nerdy and something like that. Well, Dax is a bit more calm and but really spunky,
Hornet,
you know.
take cover!
And sometimes it's when you're doing so many episodes and these two characters appear like in every
You
episode.
jinxed us, Dax.
Um,
You jinxed us.
it for me it can even get kind of confusing. And even like something like the weapons, like
Fine.
when you're writing episode to episode, you have to also make sure like if like these two characters are going to be in
Seal, don't
if you have
be-
characters who are going to be in one location at a time, like say for episodes 5, 6, and 7, they're going to be in the desert. You got to make sure those weapons are consistent. And there has to be a story reason why like the weapons change essentially. So that was something I also had to keep track of. I think this is my first, not my first action scene, but like I don't know. This scene was, I made a trailer for season 2, like before season 1 was finished,
Yeah, go, Seal.
and I had all these random scenes that I just thought they looked cool. I had an idea of how I wanted the season to be, so I was pretty confident in that trailer. And some like shots in the trailer ended up being in the season, some didn't. And again, I even had to be consistent with the ONC soldiers' helmets being ODST helmets. And the reason I changed it was because, again, I'd have to make sure, like, if there was 4 ONC soldiers, like, I only had 3 accounts at this time. So, like, the 4th account could only have, like, a CQB. Like, the default, like, if you play a dummy account in Halo 3, that the armor is limited. You can only have like a Mark 6 and a CQB helmet. So I had to change that later on.
Wow, Seal, that was amazing. You took that thing on all by yourself. Seal, what is that thing?
Trying to do some explanation about like lightsaber or non-lightsaber or whatever.
I think we're finally done, Legend. And I must say, we did a pretty good job.
Here we are with this is episode 5,
What are you talking about? It looks exactly
episode
the same.
21. Yeah, there we go.
It
Episode
does.
21.
Look at that pillar.
And
Leaning
that
backwards.
the title's pink
No, it's
for a
not. It's
reason.
standing completely straight.
So
You obviously need to get that checked.
I guess I can just talk about it now. This season introduces a few new voice actors.
Shifted way over to the right.
Xanthi Folon, who voices character that's going to appear in this episode, who's also voiced by a little top hat gal originally, and it was difficult for me because I really like the most hardest part about finding voice actors was getting everything prepared, really having to like dive deep into the character, who this character is. So this is all for the actor to like help them understand who the character is, what my inspirations for the character were, making sure. And this is when I started to write scripts like in the, like I don't want to say, let me guess, the like in the typical way,
Really?
the industry standard way.
It's from
Because I thought it would be like I was going to film classes soon. I started, I think season 2 was like while I was in my like senior year of high school. So like this was like 100% going to school, dealing with that crap. And while I was even in school, I was writing stuff for like Sandguardians. So I actually used to write my scripts, not just for Sandguardians, but for like Toy Story Live, another web series I do. I was literally writing it on paper, just write it because I was the only voice actor, so I didn't need to like type it out or anything like that. I just wrote it on paper. And So when I started typing it out, well, I had to type it out because I needed to send my actors the lines. I had to send them my lines, and I had to make sure that that script was finalized and done, that it didn't need any additional changes. Because if I send my actor lines and then I have changes, I gotta send them lines again. And I like to give my actors at least like a week or two to get their lines in and inform them about everything up front. I try to do all the brunt work, so all they have to do is just do their thing and send stuff back to me. So I originally casted Little Top Hat Gal for the first few episodes of when this new character appears. But then later on, I couldn't get in touch with her. She just kind of um, fell off the map. I don't know what happened, so I just decided to have to get a new voice actor. And heavens, they heard me, and I got a voice actress who sounded very similar. Xanthi Folon, who sounded very similar to the original voice actress, and is definitely probably the one of the best things about the series. Just getting her and working with her. She's amazing. She's just funny and nice and kind and extremely talented. So um, I loved, like, once I got more actors in the later season, I started to really enjoy writing their characters and just writing the characters in general. Because like I said, most of the characters are based on me. So when I wrote these new characters, I kind of had to start basing them on maybe other people in my life, just to make things, not just to make things interesting, but it helps me, I guess as a writer, you can say. Um, but yeah, it's having those new actors really help, and we'll get to them soon. So this little exchange between Legend and Ichabod is extremely important for Ichabod's character. Yeah, like that's something like as I'm writing Ichabod now, that's something I definitely remember. Like, okay, this is a big part of Ichabod's character. How someone actually sees him. How someone says, like, man, I thought you were gonna be a role model. I thought you had like a lot of potential and you're just wasting it. And it's like maybe one of the first few times where Ichabod kind of feels, a little hurt. He always saw himself as this, like, no, not really a nobody, but just someone who's just mediocre, can't really get things done. And finally, someone said, like, "Oh, I saw a lot of potential in you, and you're just wasting it," and you just feel good about it.
What?
Oh, I guess there is world building. Okay, so we have some world building here with the character of Goon, who unfortunately is dead. And I do have an idea of his character. I always thought him as like he's like the pilot. He's like he joined the combat division of the ONC. He's his pilot. He was really confident. Um, no, like, kind of like Han Solo, I guess. Not too cocky, but just like very optimistic but very brave and confident. Obviously, like confident elite, basically. And this is things I've always thought about writing like a Sandguardians prequel that focuses on Seal and the other Guardians. And this is stuff I have to remember. I have to incorporate this stuff into if I make a prequel into the prequel. So when people watch the original series, they can feel that. Like, again, Better Call Saul like does a great job of just like introducing new characters, but making you watch and rethink Breaking Bad in certain ways, which is just amazing.
Because of that, the best Guardian pilot is now dead. Because of me and my stupid mission.
I think also, like, during senior year of high school, I was going through a lot of shit, just like a lot of like sadness and just a lot of tough emotions, and I think that's kind of like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I mean, at least it helped write some of these scenes. Like
Well,
some of
Yes,
this was,
wait,
like I said, like a lot of
you
these
know about it?
characters are based on me. So like some of these
not with much
conversations
of a fighter
between like
drone, so
Seal
I
and
knew what
Jason,
you
or
tried to do.
Jason and Dax,
I realized you
or
and
the
your
Reds,
teammates were
sometimes
smart,
there's
but
stuff
had your
that
heart
I've at
bizarrely
least
wrong.
felt or
Are you
thought
guys
about.
talking about the
And I feel like a
semi-annual
lot of
event?
writers are like
I was
that,
so excited for it
like you
first
kind of
aired.
have to get in
Imagine never
everybody's
even working
head
for a corporation
and
that
see
were run
how
by a
people
bunch of
think and
wackos,
see
you know?
how, and
Well, I
basically
had my
since
suspicions.
you're that
I mean,
filter,
they were gonna
you
send me
kind of
to
have
a
to
place
feel what
called
people are feeling
Valhalla, and they
sometimes,
were gonna give me yellow
and
armor. What made you decide to come
like
to a hot,
find that
barren desert
connection, or
surrounded
just
by
like
giant laser
take how
towers?
people make
I
you
look better
feel
in blue.
and like find
Yellow's
an outlet
too
for that, which would be
clear.
writing.
That doesn't even make any sense.
On a comedy
You don't understand.
uh point, like that whole
Jason,
Dax was stationed at
yeah,
Valhalla with yellow armor.
Sure.
That's still important.
why did you join the
I've always planned on getting to that and like
I
actually
guess
showing that. So
my life just
when I
felt
show
meaningless.
Valhalla, you'll see some yellow soldiers and
I
you'll be
never
like,
had any wars,
oh, that's what Dax was
and I
talking
never really
about.
had any good relationships. Plus, I didn't really do well in college, so I
And here's a
basically
bit
joined for
more. I really
academics.
like the scene between
You thought
Dax,
your life would be a cruise
Jason
till
and
you died in
Seal,
battle?
and the lighting
I'd
on
rather
them.
be
It's
remembered
very
as a
bright,
dying
it's a bit
war veteran
harsh,
than
and
a
you can just
living
see those
loser.
colors
What
pop.
war? There's no war
But
going
it's
on,
still, in terms of like the writing,
except
there
for
was
one
still
the
some
ONC is
things
about to
that
create.
I didn't have
The second
solidified yet.
chance
Like I
program.
didn't really know
This
second
is no
chance
need for
program. I
running.
had a vague
All
idea
it
of
does is create
how the
more
ONC
policemen lying to
was,
soldiers like you.
but
And sadly, you're now
I
part
didn't
of
have
it.
it fleshed out. Like I didn't have it written, so that's
Seal,
kind of
I don't know
why
what to think anymore.
it's kind of
Good
vague, and
guys and bad
at times I
guys.
don't really come
The
back to it
Guardians
in
and the
later
ONC have created
episodes.
a war amongst themselves.
That's why we must fight and win to expose the ONC for what they truly are: corruptionists who poison the minds of young soldiers and creative thinkers. And may I remind you of interspecies conflict.
Seal, you're part of a much larger world than I am. I don't know if I'll be able to contribute. I mean, it's still hard for me to understand about the Guardians and what you guys are actually fighting for.
There are some things in this world, Jason, that we can never understand. It takes time,
Nice
years,
little line by Seal.
but we should never stop fighting for what's right.
Writing and even making this stuff, art's a good form of
Getting
therapy.
very tired,
If you're
Jason.
ever going through a
No
rough
matter where
time,
we
make
go,
some art.
we can never stop
Let's
running
write some
into
stuff,
time.
act some stuff out.
Guys, a little help here?
Whoa,
Hey!
stand down!
Unless you want me to blow his fucking head off, I suggest you all pack up your things and go back to wherever the hell you came from.
Oh, I love that cut.
If you bark any more
There's
orders,
one thing
you
with
feel
like
my
this
head
long
and
movie
keep
edit,
my
like you can
finger
make
on
like
the trigger.
when you put these episodes together, it's like, oh man, that worked so well. And sometimes you do have to plan it out.
Now would we, fellas?
And here's our introduction
Ride me.
to Nash. Probably one of my favorite characters to write for, and I guess I could say a fan favorite.
Shitheads like you
The
before?
main thing I would describe Nash, to me she's always just been a female Wash. That's how I described her. Just a female Wash from. When I say Wash, I mean a character from my favorite
Getting
character from
tired
Red
of you
vs.
two
Blue.
constantly spouting out bullshit. It's getting annoying, and you're beginning to waste my time.
And man, writing
Already
this
told you
was
what I wanted.
tough
Pack up your fucking things
because
and
it's
leave.
like, because this is my first time obviously with a new voice actor, a voice actress, and I don't know. It was like, at least for like that previous episode, the way it ended with her Nash's introduction, I definitely wanted to surprise the audience, and they'll see this new character, and they'll see it's voiced by someone new, and then the episode will end, and they'll be left on like, oh, he's got a new voice actor. Okay, oh, where's this going? And the music, I think, worked too. I think that piece is called Medusa by Kevin MacLeod.
Step back. Step back, or I swear to God.
And with this being like even with Claire, with Nash and Claire being female characters, um, I still had to. You got to be careful about like, okay, what would a girl say here or whatever. Like you just have to like, okay, what would I say here if I was this character? And of course, I'm a guy writing a female character.
My colleague. We were
Um,
involved in each other's
and I just
work.
had to like, I had to be open about like, if I mess this character up, I hope somebody calls me out on it so I can improve. You know,
How do I know you didn't
because I mean,
kill
as a
somebody
writer,
and
like there's
steal
female
that
writers who
armor?
write male characters, male writers obviously who write female characters. So it's definitely a challenge for me. Making sure I just got this right and was respectful and everything like that.
Holy shit. Chameleon? Is
I really
that
wish I
you?
changed that. No offense, the chameleon thing. Like again, it was supposed to like give the audience like, hey,
You
like
can speak
there's some
English.
backstory that you don't know, but you may know eventually. And I haven't brought it up. I don't think Nash ever calls him chameleon again. Unfortunately.
Surprise, surprise.
So Nash is basically like Wash from Rivers Blue, Tex, and Carolina.
These are my comrades, Dax and
You know,
Jason. They've been assisting me throughout my journey.
Well,
someone because I
suppose
wanted
the
her to
least I
kind of
can
be
do
like this big
is
sister
respect
kind of
your
motherly
privacy.
figure, but like she's kind of going through her own thing. Like I didn't really want to make her like an Obi-Wan. Something in between, you know. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Dax,
I
Jason,
didn't really want to
Nash,
make her
friend of
too much like
She's a
because
fellow
like
guardian
Ellen
who
Ripley or
should
like
also
Sarah
welcome
Connor,
inside
like
too.
those are the two
Okay,
most
Seal. I accept that
famous like
professional permission.
badass
Sorry,
female movie
but trust me,
characters, and
this
it's
is
just
broken.
that like they're so everybody references them all the time. So uh, I I try to
Have to make do with what we have.
make her as
Okay,
vulnerable to
everyone follow me.
having her own
We'll
problems and everything
regroup
like
inside
that.
one of the temples.
Like even be kind of like, I don't know if I trust this person just yet.
Dax, hold on a second. Jason, I think I know what you're thinking.
I like that shot.
What do you think I'm thinking?
Nice shot of
I
Dax.
think you're thinking if that Nash chick can be trusted. Yeah, basically. But Seal seems to trust her. Yeah, but Seal and Nash have history. She doesn't seem
And
to be
it's
very
like a little
fond
good
of
scene
strangers.
to
Yeah, you're right.
uh
So what are
have
you
the audience
thinking
still
now?
kind of side with Dax and
Thinking we should watch
Jason
our backs.
in terms
Just in
of
case he tries
like,
anything.
hey, let's not trust Nash too
Are
quickly.
you two slackers gonna move your
Bench
asses anytime
basically.
soon?
Dax, Jason, let's get a move on.
Okay, sorry. We'll be right there. Dax, let's keep our distance from Nash and stick together. Try to keep a close eye on her while we're at it. Wait, you want
I
us
love
to
that
keep our
line.
distance and keep a close eye on her? How the hell does that work? Just stay close to me. You and I don't know a lot about Guardian history, so we're basically on our own. Anything can happen.
Now the story is moving forward with kind of, I guess we can say we're in Act 2, where we can
God, finally done with this shit.
you know
I
the
never
Dax
thought I'd be
Chase
able
and
to
Seal
make this into a
storyline
crowd
is
pleasing
moving
podcast.
forward,
I
while
swear, if Legend says one negative thing about my
this
opinion,
storyline's
I'm gonna
about
hit
to
this
move
shit ball
forward.
with my foot. Coming. Wait a minute. We don't have a doorbell. Okay, let's quit the charade. Who's the prankster? Who thinks they can screw with old Ichabod's head, huh? Who the fuck are you? I'm sorry for interrupting.
Now, if you watch the season 2 trailer, this was Legend who was supposed to be in that position, but then I changed it to Ichabod because it just like, why would Legend be there? Like I just like let's just have like Ichabod would make the more sense to be there, I
You got the
suppose.
word cliche written all over you. Just answer the question. Dude, you're standing like 3 feet in front of me,
And
I
this
still
scene
can't
was
hear you.
definitely
Speak up,
inspired
have a voice.
again by Red versus Blue. There's an episode in the 7th season of Red versus Blue where
It's part of my job.
Donut, the character Donut meets the villain, the Meta, for the first time, and he doesn't know who that is, but we as the audience know. So the audience is like, "Oh shit!" But it's also kind of funny because Donut is avoiding the Meta and all his attacks and everything. It's pretty funny, but it's also pretty tense. So that's how I got inspired by this scene.
I know you. I had no idea I was so popular. You're that fucking engineer. Oh shit, what the fuck took you so long, man? I think you're mistaken.
Oh, bullshit. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get to Legend so you can get our account number and charge us. Well, good thing I ran into you before you can execute your little
And
plan.
even like this season
He's
develops the guy in white a bit more.
Hey, slacker, quit mumbling
At
under
the
your
very
breath
least, he
and get
talks a
your
lot
ass
more.
over here. I'm gonna be watching you 24/7, making sure you don't
And
screw us over or try
I
to
like
break
the
the
fact that
software or anything like
there's
that.
like got
And
all
don't
this
even think
dialogue
that you
and
give me a tip.
this bit of
If I
comedy
provide
here.
any tools or equipment,
He said tools or equipment. We ain't got no tools. Believe it
It's
or
kind of
not, they all
nostalgic
got
for me because I
fuckloads
can
of
remember how
room
much
to...
fun this
We don't have
like
any,
writing this
okay?
stuff was.
And for that
Even
matter,
though,
aren't
like I
you the
said
one who's supposed
earlier,
to bring the tools and equipment?
I think this is
Oh,
episode
God, you're
22.
stupid. Now come on, your
So I was
ass needs
probably
to turn on
writing
this tank
episode like
right now.
25 or
Let's put your
26 or
so-called
something like
engineering
that
skills
at
to
this
the test,
time
shall we?
while I released this episode.
if I want to find out any further
And aren't
information on my
you
target,
sorted out by rank or
I have no
level?
choice.
Hey, what the fuck did I tell you about mumbling? What are you, retarded? Get your ass to fixing.
Love this shot. Love this music too. This was I think this music is called Decisions by Kevin MacLeod. I've always wanted to use it.
Impressed?
Well, yes, actually. Guardians are notorious for creating innovative things out of.
I tried to explain the Guardians basically just kind of like the rebels taking like, you know, objects, just silly objects, not silly, but like
You really
she
think
says
so?
meager objects and just making something out of it, like making something out of nothing essentially.
Whoa. Look at all this stuff.
Nash, how long have you been
Like I said, I like writing for Nash because like she's kind of a gateway to the past. And I think this episode was originally called A Message from the Past, and then I changed it to Insight
Never meant to draw any
Insight to the
attention.
Past.
Gee,
Which I don't even know if that
wonder
makes
this had something
sense.
to do with the music that was constantly playing on the radio that caught their attention.
So what, like, yeah, this was like a really great excuse for me to like insert some backstory and everything like that.
Me?
When I saw your ship, I thought you were hiding somewhere in the desert.
Seal? Oh, come on. Seal never hides. It's true. He took down a whole hornet by himself.
That's not the point. Seal, you were looking for McGraw, weren't you?
It's definitely where a lot of the drama starts to come in. And I know there's a flashback scene in this episode, and I actually used that for an episode in a later season, so that was pretty helpful. Because I've always had the idea of like if I were to do a prequel,
What?
I think this is honestly where the whole idea of a prequel even like came up, because again, season 2 was released 2012 at around 2012, well, in 2012, and Red versus Blue were doing, or I think they did their 10th season, which was their 9th and 10th season were like prequels, and that's kind of what inspired me to do kind of a prequel of my own. Here's the flashback scene done in Halo Reach. And yeah, I've thought about like, if I'm gonna do a prequel, maybe I should do it in Reach because that's technically takes place before Halo 3 and it's the past, so I thought it fit. And the first appearance of, well, I guess I'll say Alan for now. It's a character because I had to start writing some more Guardians, more backstory stuff to like make these people feel like there's some history behind all this, and
I did.
I don't, I think one of a character inspiration for no, I can't really remember like some of the inspirations for Alan, and I'll get way more into Alan the next season,
Well, play that
and
bitch.
especially in season 4 for those commentaries.
Oh my god.
What's the matter?
But yeah, Alan was just like, okay, I would like these again, group of friends, love writing that stuff. So
It's
Alan was gonna be this like extra additional friend, amongst the four, like Nash and McGrath and Alan and
This is
Seal.
Dr. Arthur McGrath, former scientist of the ONC.
Ooh,
My
and here
science lab
was
has recently
McGrath.
been
I
infiltrated
can't
by
remember how
Sandguardians,
I
with all the equipment either being
filmed
confiscated or
this,
destroyed.
but I did want it to make it feel like a
Seal,
video.
if you are doing
Um,
this, speak up.
Obviously.
They're holding me in some underground
Oh,
chamber
that
and they've been
effect is
asking me
awful.
questions. If you still have the
Awful, awful.
lifesaver, keep it safe and secure. And find help. You'll know where to go.
And this is kind of a reveal of
Nash,
like McGrath's
Alan, and
actual
McGrath.
colors. He's white
If
and
you are
green.
doing this, find Seal. He's somewhere out there. Get the lifesaver from him,
Unfortunately, he's just
keep it
that
secure.
character that's like,
And
if
whatever
you
you
see
do,
him,
don't let
he's
the
either
ONC get
dead
their
or you're
hands
never
on
gonna
him.
like
They
see
can't be
him
trusted. Don't let
in
them
the
find Seal
flesh.
either.
Like he's gonna be
They're
seen through
looking for him.
flashbacks or through video,
Seal,
never like in
get
the
the
flesh, like
lifesaver and
say
the
how you're
handle.
seeing Seal or Dax or whoever.
They're coming. I don't have much time. Take care, you guys. I know I can trust you.
And in terms
Alan,
of like
you're
timeline
the best friend
stuff,
I've ever had.
McGrath
Mickey,
would
I never met a man as funny as
either
you.
be alive or
Nash,
this video was done a couple days before.
you're one of the greatest things that's ever happened in my life. And Seal, you're the smartest, most compassionate, and courageous scientist I will ever cease to know.
Again, he mentions a character named Mickey, and that's just
I'm out of time. Remember, find
kind of my
Seal,
way of
take
like
the
saying
lifesaver,
like,
and
okay,
keep
I
it
gotta
secure.
really make these
Please don't
characters,
let
make
the
them
ONC get
appear
their hands on
somehow,
him.
like in the next season or in the
Seal,
future or
you
something
do it.
like that.
Nash, I love you.
Just again, like really fill this world up with history and characters. I don't know why I kept that in. I would have not kept that in. I just kept it because, oh, it's a video, it's Halo. Maybe this is like in the Halo. Yeah, I would have. I don't know.
Seal. Do you have the lifesaver?
Yes.
Here's my little retcon of like, okay, so how do I show? Well, I technically did this in the first season, but like, how do I show the lifesaver? Oh, well, the plasma pistol, it's a simple weapon. Anybody can carry it. It's available anywhere. It's green like the lifesaver. So how about I kind of incorporate it that way? And I hope I did a decent job. I had to kind of make sure that no other character held a plasma pistol, because then you wouldn't know like, okay, what's the difference between this plasma pistol and the lifesaver, And the whole second plasma pistol was, it was just a way for like the guy in white to, the reason I like had the whole two plasma pistols, like I separated the lightsaber's energy into two plasma pistols because the lightsaber's energy was, the energy was too much for one plasma pistol essentially.
Doesn't matter.
I did the two plasma pistols because I needed to give the guy in white a reason to just stay in Sandbox and give the Reds and Blues like a fighting chance. Because if there was no lifesaver or no Seal in Sandbox, maybe you can question them. I don't know.
Hear what he had to say?
I could have ruined
We need to
something.
get the lifesaver safe and secure, away from the ONC.
Did you not hear what he had to say? He said he loved you. Don't be so selfish.
Shut up!
And
Don't do that.
I guess like when writing Seal, like sometimes,
Ludicrous side quests.
like when I get how do I say it,
Don't say that.
critiques, I guess for certain episodes or comments, I do take that to heart. Like I really try to like, um
Go
make sure like these characters, like, is this character really a good guy? Like Seal's like, is Seal really a good person? Is he a good guy? Or is he just being kind of selfish? I'm like, you know what? Seal's sometimes kind of selfish. He does things just for himself. And he really tries to like guilt trip other people sometimes, like saying like if you really cared about him, you would go find him and everything like that. But the way I wrote this from Nash's point of view is like, look, maybe he's gone, but he sacrificed himself. He didn't sacrifice himself for nothing, and she respects what McGrath did, and she is just like doesn't want to like drop everything to try and find him because she might die and she might find him dead. So I guess that was Nash's thought process in that scene. And in this scene, Dax and Jason officially become Guardians. And I just thought like it was a matter of time, like Okay, they're not really blue team
It's
anymore.
exactly what we
They're
wanted.
Guardians.
To fight for something worth fighting for. We're now a
And
part
that
of that
all that
larger
stuff that Nash
world.
told them,
We're
it's tough.
fucking
Like
guardians, man.
these early seasons really
Right.
kind of almost screwed me over because
I just hope
it's
you
hard to incorporate that stuff when you look back and it's just like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, fight for justice or destroy the law. Like, it sounds kind of cool, but like, what does it make sense? Even ONC, like Ordnance Nationality Corporate, like, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not afraid to say it. Like, it really doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'd probably call it something else. Like, I don't know.
a pretty good job.
See if I can come up with something on the fly. Something corporation.
Where the heck is he?
One Nation Corporation, maybe? I don't know. One Nation Corporation.
Hmm?
I don't know.
This is new.
And a nice little cliffhanger here.
How did this get here?
And I feel like this is at least a good way to like get Legend, the person who's always doubtful and doesn't trust Seal. This is his way to kind of understand Seal and where he's coming from and everything like that, and who he is, and maybe have some sympathy for Seal as well. Now this is one of those this episode, Secrets Reveal. This is one of these episodes that I really like because it was very easy in production. The production was smooth. The episode's short, and I think I wrote this episode around Christmas time. Like I think I did this episode in a week. Like I wrote the whole script in one night, literally. I wrote the whole script in one night. I would usually just like write the script, maybe write a bit of it, come back to it later, write it again, just continue, come back, and then just try to write it more and finish it, and then go back and revise. And like this one, I wrote all of it at once, and I went to revise it a few times.
What's the matter?
And I think I did the voice and all the other stuff in a week, I believe. I can't 100% remember.
Oh.
But it was one of those times where it was around Christmas. And I got in the previous episode, Insight to the Past was a long episode. And this episode's shorter, and I thought like, oh man, this is gonna be an episode I'm gonna have to do like next year. But I managed to get it out, I believe, like right before Christmas.
Do you?
Let's not start this again. Do you think he's working with the Blues?
And definitely you can kind of see Claire being suspicious, how kind of like Gates was. And she was a bit suspicious in the first season, but now she's kind of adopting some of Gates's demeanors and stuff. I guess I've always saw Gates as like the main character of the Red Team.
Standard for every engineer.
Well, maybe he's not an engineer.
Possibly not.
Come on, we need to notify Sergeant Wilbur about this.
Hey, wait a minute. I don't think he wants to be.
And then
bothered by
again with like
anyone.
Miller kind of just being the guy on the sidelines. He doesn't want to like cause trouble, doesn't want to rock the boat. He's just chill. Like, but that's what I like about Miller. He's just chill, I don't got a problem with you. I'm good. We're all good. Let's just keep it that way.
I mean, dude, where have you worked? What did you expect?
And here's Ichabod and the guy in white arguing. And it's a kind of a scary way to put Ichabod in his place. Just like, yo, you gotta be careful who you're talking to. And he had a fight with Legend a bit, and when the guy in white attacks him, Legend can come to the rescue, and Legend and Ichabod can kind of have that trust in each other afterwards.
Objective. Assassinate the person that's causing trouble for my employers. Unfortunately, I've lost the location of my target. And sadly, you've been of no help to me. Oh. Do you want me to make you some coffee? Because you seem a bit...
I really did like writing this episode. It's fun.
And, I can make a mean frappuccino. I think I need to take my anger out on something. Somebody.
You kind of see like guy in white's badass, but you can kind of see like him sometimes getting frustrated or not in control. And it's definitely, especially again with a game like Halo where you're supposed to kill people. It's like you gotta raise the stakes. I gotta like I really had to tell myself, like, is this a show where none of the main characters are gonna die, like nobody's gonna die, or it's just gonna be a show where like anybody can die? And I really, and sometimes there are characters who have plot armor, not gonna lie, but I really tried to say like, hey, some main characters can die here.
My, my, my back.
Here's a lifesaver healing Ichabod's back here.
It feels like it's healed. I think my friend's gonna be just fine. Ichabod, get against the wall.
Kind of finally see Legend kind of being a badass,
What is that? Give it to me. Now! Come and get it, motherfucker.
A lot of cliffhangers this season. Okay, so the opening for this episode was something I kind of did plan. Like, when I have a piece of music in mind, this piece of music is called "Truth of the Legend," which is also the name of the episode. When I have a piece of music in mind, I'm like, man, I really want to use that music in an episode. And when I know I want to use it and I use it, I gotta you can just tailor the editing and the episode with the piece of music. Oh god, I hate you just have that energy sword just lying around there. You got to do set dressing, people. If you're gonna mission mate, just do your set dressing.
Okay, I double tapped him. We're ready to go.
Good
The
work.
sword is just
Everybody,
sitting there.
mount up.
Oh my god.
Dude, that was a little embarrassing.
I had to loop this part of the song because the song is not that long. It's like
Dax,
2 minutes.
Let's go. We have to hurry.
Jason, you're with me. I'll need you to cover my back.
Oh.
And kind of hinting that Jason has a crush on Nash,
I was wondering if I could ride with Nash.
But I like the fact that Dax just sees Nash as like, yo, this is like a cool badass warrior. I want to get her autograph and everything like that.
The one driving the vehicles around for the entire trip. So, I thought I could take a break. Well, I guess, but I really wanted to ride with Nash.
It doesn't matter who rides with who. Let's just get going.
Seal's right. You two need to hurry up.
And now, we got Dax and Jason kind of feeling out of their element. They've been at Sandbox a while. Now they're on an actual mission. So it's they're kind of out of place.
Okay, we're all set.
Good. Now let's go.
Let's move out, people.
The scene definitely took longer than I originally thought it was, especially when I first was editing it. I love that shot of that little tower just fading away. It's awesome. It's weird how Sandbox and this map both have towers like that. Back to the standoff between Legend and the guy in white.
I believe I hold the advantage. How so? Well, I have the longer ranged weapon, giving me better
I was
precision.
pretty surprised still, how popular the guy in white
He's smarter,
ended up
stronger,
being.
and has more experience than you. That's
I don't know
we
why.
call him Legend.
'Cause I thought it's got the armor, it's cliche, and the voice is kind of cliche. Everything about him's kind of cliche, but there's so many.
Well, that may be.
There's a good amount of people who
When it
want to
comes
know more
things
about
up
him,
close and personal,
and I have an idea. I may go into it a little later,
I like
but
it.
I do have an
I really
idea.
do.
He's a
You're
very
tenacious,
unhinged
not a
person,
coward like my other victims. Don't even think about it. Ichabod, don't move.
and
Legend, this guy's
when
a
you
crazy
when you
assassin
when he
like
starts to
that.
feel like a
He doesn't
person,
even want us.
it does
He's looking
kind
for
of
that
make him a
alien.
little less, at least in my opinion, a little bit less
Dax and
threatening.
Jason.
So it's I have to kind of keep that threat
He's
there.
not dead. It's not nice to keep secrets. that device over to me now. You want it? Come get it. Split up.
Okay, so now there's gonna be like a little part where Legend is, he goes hiding the lightsaber. He's gonna be walking up this hill. This was stupidly hard. Because the way this thing is angled, this hill is angled, it's so steep that you think it'd be easy. And I'm just like, this is ridiculously tough. Just like some of the hardest things to do, like from Machinima, is just having two characters walking side by side. Like that's hard. I mean, it's not hard, but like it can get hard, and it's annoying because it's not simple. It's not as simple as it looks. And that's what's annoying about it, because you think it's gonna be simple and it ends up not being. And I made sure the guy in white got at least a shot on Legend, so we can kind of have that idea, like, okay, Legend's hurt, you know, this guy's an opponent. Gosh, you know, also shots of characters just lying down, and you know, if you play Halo a lot, obviously the character's dead, but like,
So fucking embarrassing.
it's hard because like you see him laying down, like, oh, everybody's gonna think he's dead. Gosh.
Although he does look peaceful.
Well, how do we wake him up?
I don't know. You think of something. Not that way. Wilbur. Sir?
More
Come on
Wilbur
now.
stuff.
Are we under attack?
Not yet, we're not.
Why would you shoot at me, crazy bitch? I told her not to.
Sir, we've reached a verdict in which Gates' vision may be coming true.
Oh, not this again.
Sir, we're serious. Gates talked
Wilbur's
about a
pretty
white
interesting
soldier,
to me
and we
this
just
season,
saw him
this
with our
season.
own eyes. He's at Blue Base.
Private Claire, get back to your post or you will be considered for court-martialing.
There's some times where I wish I can bring characters back somehow.
Tell him what
Like,
we saw. Gates' vision is coming true.
Wilbur is one of those characters I would love
Miller, previous
to
order,
know how he
22.
feels about his
Tell
team
him.
and seeing how much they've grown. But honestly, I still feel like Wilbur would be a bad guy. Like if I somehow would bring him back, he would be a bad guy. Like he might be like an anti-hero, but
Someone on this
like
team I can trust.
he'd be kind of like
Oh,
an
and keep that
untrustworthy
mission
kind of
under control,
guy.
would ya? Yes, sir.
And a bit of Miller here, a big moment for him, you know, not standing up for his team. Now this episode was tricky. Actually, it was just hard, you know.
Come on! Is that the best you can do?
Writing action scenes are, how do I explain it? You know, I guess honestly, the more vague you are with action scenes, the better. Like you can just start kind of doing whatever you want when you're actually filming the episode. Like the shots and everything, you have to make sure you get a lot of shots, making sure it's interesting.
Oh man.
It's the point. It's the moments where like you need something to happen. Like I need this character to like get hit and fall down all these stairs. You know, like those are the hardest to do, because if you just write it like, and these two people shoot at each other, you can just do that in a number of ways. You know, if that makes sense.
Legend! You forgot your secret weapon! Legend!
Fuck. I feel so useless.
Mhm.
If this thing can heal and weaken people, I wonder.
And if you can catch it in season 1, episode 15, when Seal uses the tank, you can kind of, I purposely put in like the sound of a plasma pistol charging to kind of indicate that Seal's like powering it up.
Getting tired?
I like that shot.
Don't give up. No! You're not escaping me again.
I think that shot, like where he throws the plasma pistol, and the plasma pistol like flies directly towards the camera. I think I managed to. It was an accident. Like I wasn't really planned, but it was like I managed to like get the camera in a way where it's like, oh wow, this hits like right directly to the screen. I gotta get this.
I'll admit that you're an admirable fighter, but your age has made you weak, slow. Yesterday's news. Hey, Cracker! Say hello to my humongous
This is one just
friend.
that part where Legend runs away bothers me because it takes so long, in my opinion. This is like
What
a
happened? Did I
nice
get him?
device. Like if you have two people like machinimating, it'll probably make things a lot easier. As long as you guys are on the same page.
Well, yeah, you were in trouble, so.
And this great big action scene definitely develops more of Legend and Ichabod's characters. And I think like cuz whenever I'm writing a season, there are things I want to do but I can't do because it's like how do I say it? I don't know. I really don't know how to really
Well, what do we do now?
say. I don't
Where did
I don't
that
know.
white guy go?
But just basically just like the fact that okay, Legend and Ichabod are in Sandbox basically by themselves. Kind of forces you to like, okay, how would these two interact? What's their dynamic and everything like that? Because like say there's like how I said earlier, I would love Legend and Wilbur to interact with each other, but how do I make that happen in the story in a natural way?
What?
How would I make that happen naturally within the story?
Hey,
And this season I couldn't really do that, so they don't talk. I would have liked them to do it, but I couldn't find a way to really make it happen, unfortunately. But it's okay, like sometimes you have two characters who maybe interact, like Legend and Ichabod have interacted in the first season, but now they're still together. Let's have them interact more and see how far they can go.
Well, fuck me senseless.
How the fuck
Like
did it
Walt
get
and
up
Jesse,
there?
like they spent so much time
Right now,
together
who cares?
that when
Let's just
say
grab it
one
and
of
put it
them
back
makes
where it
a
belongs.
mistake they've made again,
It's time to prepare for
it's
a
like,
counterattack.
the other, like if Walt makes a mistake, Jesse's not gonna like fall for that twice.
Ichabod, we're down
It can
two
ruin their
men.
relationship, but it
Low
not ruin, but it complicates their
Now that we have our
relationship.
tank
Like
back online,
now Legend and Ichabod's
finish off
relationship
Red.
is
One
more
for all.
complex.
You mean the Reds and the guy in white now?
They're hanging out a lot more, having to rely on each other, and having a little respect for each other. Like that fundamentally changes these characters. Like you gotta remember, like, oh, in the next season, like Ichabod's gotta kind of respect Legend and everything. Now, completely new environment. I like this map. This is Avalanche. This is episode 27, Revolution. And originally it was titled Assemble and then Revolt. And then I just put Revolution.
Yeah. Have you ever
There's a blue reference
wondered
right
why
there.
you joined the ONC in the first place?
Sometimes I guess.
I mean, like,
And you
why
have
are
these
we
two
here guarding
characters in
this
their
facility?
armors. It's almost close
I mean,
to how the
what's so
ONC
important?
are,
You remember the
design
college,
wise.
This place used to be a research facility for ONC scientists before it was shut
This
down.
is a cameo from my brother.
Yeah, but I think
Because I've always wanted him to
I think there's more to it though.
have just like a little cameo.
Certain
I
things that
kind
you
of wanted it
always
where
start
like
with.
he would cameo in each season, but
You ever wonder
he never really
if the
wanted to do it.
ONC are the bad
And this one I
guys in
kind of
this
got
whole
him to
situation?
do it.
You know, between them and those Guardians.
Ugh, my
Hmm.
terrible
I-
whatever accent that's supposed to be.
I never
But
thought
these
of it
characters
that
are
way
called
before.
Diablo and Jamie.
I joined
I mean
the ONC
Jeremy.
because my
Jeremy's
father
the
died
one with
during
the
the
blue
Great War.
stripe.
So I thought I
Diablo
would
is the
need
one
to
with the
honor him in
red
some way.
stripe.
But I never thought the people I'd be working for would be the bad guys.
Yeah.
And just like a little exchange. I kind of always do forget about this because it's like how do the ONC feel about how did the guards feel about the
Seems too
ONC?
easy. I feel like there should be more.
Here's the first appearance of
Come on,
Xanthi
let's get the others
Folan
ready.
as the
Neil.
iconic Nash.
Wait. I don't think this is a good idea. We still have enough time to make it to the rendezvous, and this mission is a 50-50 chance.
I'm not leaving until I find him. If you really loved him, you'd do the same.
Stop it! I never said that!
Go on then, leave. I'll complete this mission
myself. Okay.
Okay, listen up. There are only 2 soldiers
And this
guarding the
season is
facility.
still in 4x3.
We outnumber them 4
I
to 2.
don't know why I brought that up because there's just some scenes where never mind.
I
There's
think
just
you
some
made a
scenes where like a
miscalculation.
character is supposed to come in from off
What do you
screen,
mean?
and I
Well,
mess it up.
one
Obviously, a
soldier
lot of
has
little
been
mess
out of
ups
the
here and there.
facility.
And this is
That means there may be more
one reason
inside.
why I needed to have 4 controllers.
Fine. We just need to.
And I do. It's kind of weird saying this, but I
Just-
kind of like
We'll
the
have to
fact
split
that
up.
like
Half of us will
I
distract
don't know
the
if it's
guards
the
from
whole
building, while
series,
the
but
other
like this
half-
season doesn't really seem like the place doesn't really seem
well, the
very
other half enter the building
populated.
through
You
the
know,
left side.
doesn't seem to be like you don't get that feeling there's like a
Way
lot of guards
distracting.
everywhere or whatever. But I
Okay.
kind of like
You
that
two will get
because
in
it's
through the
at
upper
least for
hill.
me it's
Theo
nostalgic
and I will
because
be
it's
the
like
distraction.
I'm just focusing
Oh.
on these characters
Well, that
and
sounds like a good plan.
I don't know, using what I
First things
can. I'm
first.
not trying to make like a big
Dax,
thing. I'm just trying to
I'll
have
need
some
your
fun,
rifle.
you know. Make it simple. Make it simple.
Hey, I think something bad's about to happen.
What? No. Everything's calm right now.
And I think my brother, because at this
Yeah.
point I had a microphone. I had the Audio Technica AT-R 2100. That was the microphone I was using. My brother, I think, just used his phone.
Okay, so there are only 2 guards on the right and 1 on the left. I hope this will work.
That radio sound again.
Dax, are you two ready?
Yeah, we're set
It's
to go.
still the same one from season 1. I've used it for every season. It's the same effect.
Roger that.
Same.
Ready,
And that's
Jason?
me. That's just me whistling. And it's I got that from RVB, Red vs. Blue again.
Well,
I guess that's just how I
maybe.
that's how I
After that
remember
incident
how
at the desert
the
when you tried to
the,
kill
the
that
radio
OC
sounded.
soldier. Well, thank you for your words of endearment. You know, I
Or
didn't
arguments.
appreciate it when you butted in after she asked me to
I
cover
swear,
for
man,
her.
I love arguments.
that
I
was
love
the
writing
perfect
arguments.
time to redeem myself. Sorry. I didn't know it meant that much to you.
And I do one thing that's
Well, you
notable about
know
this
now.
season. I do feel like
Why
there's a
do
lot
you
of
even
globe
care what she
trotting.
thinks?
You know, you have all these
What,
really
do you
beautiful
like her or
maps in
something?
Halo 3,
No?
and you
I just-
like it's for
I
me.
just
It's
wanna prove
hard
her
to
that I'm a
like.
true guardian. But
And other
you were the one
machinimators
that
do
said
this
we had
way
to
better
watch
than
out
I
for
do.
her. Keep
Like
our
say
distance.
if I'm in like a
Well,
room,
that was before
you know, like
she
if a
explained her
room in
orders.
this
You can
map,
trust
like
her now.
Avalanche. It's
You
hard
know,
to
sometimes
combine.
you
Like
can be
later
really
you'll see
confusing.
cold storage, and it's hard to
Not
like
that you're uptight.
combine maps. Like for
Uptight?
me, it's like if I
I'm not
use the map
uptight.
once, I don't think I
Yes,
can
you
use it
are.
again. You know, like this map is for this, and that map's for that.
The plan.
But like you know, other
Oh,
machinimators
sorry,
get
Max.
really creative and use a room in one map.
Showtime. Move.
Like say
What are you doing? I'm gonna lead the charge.
they'll
so I
use
can
they'll
prove
like
to you that I'm
use a
not
room in
uptight.
Citadel and
Now
treat it
shut
like
up and
this
follow my
actually
lead.
takes place in
Go.
Avalanche
Wait,
or whatever.
we have to
And that's
wait
something
for
I'm
Seal's
still
signal.
trying to work on.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Huh? For real, the revolution!
I think I started
I guess that's the
taking
signal.
like
Let's
Seal's
go.
alien dialogue and just reversing it.
We
Um,
have intruders!
I think this is the season I started doing that.
Never lies. Come on, let's chop him down. Yeah!
Gosh, that's a horrible accent. I'm so sorry. Jeez. I was younger. I
Look
would've
at
made
them
this.
run out there.
Take this, you son of a bitch!
Look out!
Whoa!
Suck that bastard!
So many terrible
Plan's
shots
working.
in this.
They're almost inside. Let's pick up
When I
the
say
pace.
shots, I mean I'm feeling like there's a lot of stormtroopers shooting. You know, like the guy didn't even flinch.
Come on, inside.
And especially like I said for action scenes, like this is. I'm pretty sure this is like a shot like done over and over and over again and everything like that.
Jeremy!
And you just have to make sure you
no!
get good shots and make sure and then once you have a lot of shots, you just fix it up in editing.
Hey guys, the coast is clear.
Really?
love this map. I love how it looks. I love the lighting
There's
here.
nobody here.
It's like when there's a lot of like
Great work, everyone.
hot spots
But let's not forget,
and
this isn't the end of our
some
mission.
deep shadows.
There's still the matter of finding McGrath.
Right.
It's weird. I never really think about that when I'm
Still here.
sometimes like I never really think about like
Hey,
where
man,
characters
I'm
like the
sorry I called
blocking
you
and
out.
stuff like that,
I didn't.
and how the lighting will affect it.
It's
You
okay,
know,
Dax.
when I'm mission
I will
animating.
admit that I have been a little high-strung lately regarding this whole adventure. And I guess
We
your
are
words-
almost kind of done with this
That's-
season. We're getting close to the third
Well,
act.
things will get better. I mean, we are guardians after all.
What? So we came all this way for nothing?
I'm sorry. I made a mistake.
Hey, what's wrong?
Oh, this isn't the right base.
I thought my lab was stationed inside this facility. It's been so long. I guess I was wrong. Stationed at the
I really
other
need to
base
establish
on the
timelines
opposite side.
because I treat it
What?
like it was like
So
2
we
years
fought
ago
through
or whatever.
multiple
When
guards just
in
to
reality,
end up
I
in
would
the
feel
wrong
like it
area?
was maybe like a
More
year
guards
ago,
should be
maybe a
coming.
couple months.
He's right. What do we do now?
We don't give up. Everybody huddle in.
Now
Time
this
to
shot
speed.
was actually hard because I had 4 controllers, so it's just like, okay, you think it'd be easy just to move everybody in, but like, it's I don't know how to explain it, but it's just not.
Telling you, I heard those turds
Ah,
firing,
this
and then I heard
infamous
somebody yelling revolution,
mess up. I don't know
revolution
how
in,
that
like,
happened.
Another language.
Well,
And I couldn't really fix it, unfortunately. I didn't know if it was YouTube or maybe it was how I exported the
what hell was
video.
that?
Long live the revolution!
Holy shit!
Told you.
Seal, come on. We've got to go.
Revolution!
We are slowly. This is probably like the end
Here we
of,
go.
I would say, Act 2, maybe?
And there goes the bait.
The plan's working.
Come on, let's move up.
Huh, I
Two
love
guards
this.
inside. Cover me.
Cover me. And Jason doesn't do a fucking thing. This is when I went overboard on when I was machinimating. I made every character have like multiple grenades and well, I think it's just really the multiple grenades. That's
all clear.
I stopped
Come on.
doing that
Nah.
because it's like, okay, my characters don't really throw grenades that much, so there's no reason I need to make everybody have
Actually
multiple
think we'll
grenades. Because
find
when
McGrath?
if a character has to like sleep, quote unquote, you're gonna see a whole bunch of grenades just lying around. So you know,
Look,
things you learn,
it's the
things
other
you fix
facility.
up later.
It's pretty heavily guarded.
How are we gonna get in?
Oh, I love this scene. This scene's a lot of fun. Oh gosh. Okay, they're not. Whatever. They're not that. They were the last shot. They were in the other side of the base, but now they're not. I believe these were shot separately. Like I wasn't like driving and shooting in the Hornet and driving and shooting the Warhawk at the same time. No way.
It's time for some elevation.
That's the power of editing. This was fun.
Holy shit! They're coming straight towards us.
Hold on, Seal.
Go, go, go!
That was fun. That was fun to do. Sometimes action scenes are pretty fun.
Subtle.
I can't believe that plan worked. You okay, Dax? Yeah, I'm good. Seal?
I'm fine.
Ah, the Warthog has disappeared.
Oh my gosh.
Just little things like that, man.
Is this the right facility?
I'm now noticing.
Yes, it is. I remember.
Then was this supposed to be here? It looks like an underground chamber.
This wasn't a part of the lab before. It must have recently been installed by the ONC.
Then it's too dangerous to be moving into unknown territory. Seal, since you're familiar with this part of the lab, you'll stand guard with Dax. Jason and I will see what's down there and report back.
Nash finally kind of coming into her own as a character.
Okay.
Oh man.
Not just being the exposition, but
Jason,
like
you with me?
being her own character, essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
See, like I said it before, I'll say it again. Like, this season has a lot of character
fun.
development. Just like it's
Come
more
on.
character focused. It goes a lot into like the backstory of the Guardians, a lot more. You see Ichabod and Legend spending time, and their
Oh,
characters are
shit.
developing. Miller is trying to get more focus.
Hey.
Claire as
Hey,
well,
Claire, you
and
see?
Wilbur
I
too.
told you I hit that starter. You see, the Blues are taking it.
And even now, it's like time to wrap up some storylines. Like,
Maybe
okay,
we
let's
should
wrap up
inform
the whole.
Sergeant Wilbur about
The
this?
Blues don't know where their starter is. Let's wrap that up
Claire?
and everything.
Oh, come on, Claire. Are you really giving me the silent treatment?
Okay, this is a
don't
reference to
wanna
like
get
a real life
court-martialed. I
kind
can't go
of
against my own sergeant. You know that.
real life, event that happened for me, like with a friend in school.
Seriously?
We would get into some arguments. She would always bust out the silent treatment, which
Ow!
is toxic. I'm
Ow!
sorry,
Ow!
but that's
Hey,
where
would
that
you
comes
take
from.
it easy back there?
But
Sorry.
maybe even for Claire in this
Almost
context,
done.
it was a little
Yeah,
justified.
well, hurry it up, would you?
Hey, I'm an engineer.
But it
not
does
a
kind of
fucking
show that
doctor.
Claire is like still immature.
know,
She wants
that's
to
the
be this
problem.
leader,
God, this
but
team is so
I mean,
disorganized. I
Wilbur's
can't
not a
take
great
it
leader,
anymore.
obviously. But
your
can she step up?
You want to know what my
Like Gates
fucking problem
wants to
is?
kind of be the
This
leader
team.
too,
This fucking
but
team.
he doesn't
You have an
respect his
incompetent
team.
Leader, a guy
He's
who can't
selfish.
think for himself, you, and a girl who's just
Definitely like a little
who's-
kind of like
I think I
hinting.
get the point.
Gates
I
really
swear,
likes
I
Claire.
am totally quitting this military faction right after you fix my back.
Whoa, wait. You're going AWOL?
I'm not going AWOL. I'm gonna contact the officials at headquarters and tell them I quit.
But you're required to have a written confirmation from your sergeant that allows you to leave.
What?
I'm
you don't.
pretty sure I made that up. I don't know how it
How do
works.
you know that?
I studied the handbook.
And kind of, I like the idea
Someone
of
else's handbook.
Thomas never really doing things the
I guess I am
right
going
way.
AWOL then.
Like he's like he's
I
a
don't
cheat.
know.
He's very smart
I
and
don't think
kind, but
it's
he's a
right to turn your
cheat.
back on your
He
team.
cuts corners.
turned their
He
backs on
kind of
each other.
lies.
Ouch!
Okay, you're done. Nice and spiffy.
Really? I'm good.
And as you'll
Hold
see, I
on,
think in the
you idiot.
next
You're in no
episode
condition to walk. You're still recovering.
of why
he tells
Thomas
me.
didn't stick around. Like
By the way,
I
don't say
would
anything to the others about me
like
leaving.
another thing I would
I'm
have liked
serious.
would to
I
see
don't
like
wanna cause any
Thomas
more
and
trouble.
Jason like talk
Wait,
and like because
you're
Jason
leaving this burden
was
on
calling
me?
Thomas
Yes,
throughout
now
the
fuck
first
off.
season, and it would be interesting to see those two
You know,
characters interact.
Claire is the only one who believes your story. Maybe that will make you rethink your decision.
Thomas is just a character no offense, I kind of forget about. I don't know why I like this shot. Just of like the slow shot of Wilbur like sleeping, like he looks like he's really out. And the title, The White Light, the episode title is a reference to an episode of Power Rangers called White Light. And if you don't know that episode of Power Rangers,
Sergeant Wilbur?
look it up because it's
Were
awesome.
you napping?
Ah,
I
Thomas,
believe it's a
good to see you.
two-parter.
I was actually. I decided I needed a well-deserved rest. And did you know Claire and Miller shot at me just to wake me up? They told me more about Gates' stupid vision.
Definitely
Now it's
kind of a
all
Wilbur
coming
episode.
true, and that bullshit. I nearly court-martialed those two idiots. Speaking of which, how is Vision Boy doing?
Annoying as always. But right now, he's just recovering. Oh, and he talked about going AWOL too.
Wait, what? Going AWOL?
I don't know how the fans
Yeah,
feel about
he
Thomas.
talked about
They
quitting
like
the
him or not.
military
I don't.
right after his
If they don't like him, I'm
What?
totally cool with that.
So
Like
that bastard thinks he can just leave
he's
us
not
out
a.
in the dust like
To me, he's not the most likable character.
Well then, let me have a few words with him.
He's kind of like Thomas is kind of like the guy who thinks he's nice, or I mean he's
Well,
nice, but
Legend,
like
it's
he
the
he
start.
wears it like as a badge of honor, but he's really
Could
not
use some
that
help
nice
getting
deep
over
down.
here, but still got it done. Oh,
Yeah.
And now we got Legend. Um,
So, let's get this baby
and I forgot to say
installed.
the reason they call him Legend. The Blues call him Legend is
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
fought in the Great War, so they see him as like, oh, you're like a legend. You're one of the legends. You fought in the actual war.
Legend? Are you Ichabod, I've been thinking about this weapon. It's not safe to keep in our possession. Then why are you staring at it like a maniac?
And again, like I
Do you
said,
know the amount
or I
of
was
power
saying,
this weapon can
Legend
provide
is
us?
starting to get more immersed
End this skirmish
into
right
the
now.
Guardians and wanting
We're
to know
gonna get
more
to the
about
bottom of
them.
exactly how this weapon
And
works,
it was
how
definitely
exactly
you'll
that
see
alien built
like
it.
next season. It was definitely
You wanna
hard
say
to
he
kind of like
created
figure
a
out the
scientist in
motivations
the
for these
ONC?
characters.
When he told us that story? Yeah, I remember.
Like, why
Forget
doesn't
that.
Legend just toss that lifesaver
Ever since that
like
white soul
away?
disappeared,
And I feel like
I haven't
maybe
been able
you
to
could
get
say
that
that like,
damn
well, he's
alien
afraid the
out
guy
of
in
my
white will
head.
find it, and
Not
then
alone.
that'll lead him to Seal, which will then lead him
I'll
to
have to
Dax and
remove
Jason. And he's
anything
trying to
that's
protect them,
left.
or maybe he really is
Stealing
like
such powerful energy into a worthless
wants to
plasma
know
pistol.
what's going on with the
Fooling
company that he
everybody
works
into
for. Like
believing that the weapon's
maybe
completely harmless.
maybe Seal was onto
Yep,
something, something
that
like
alien
that.
was pretty mysterious. Just don't go Gollum on that ring.
That's an intentional line. Like,
Come
don't
on,
go
Ichabod.
Gollum on that ring, because Lord of the Rings
Baby
was,
back where it belongs.
I guess you could say the Two Towers
Very
specifically
heavily,
was
bastards.
inspiration
Now,
for the
that
season.
idea
I like
I
the
like.
idea of these characters go on this grand journey by themselves.
Ah. Can't wait to get out of here. Hey, Gates. How's your back? Still a little pain, but
Now,
I'm getting better.
Gates
That's
is
good.
a teeny bit
I
inspired by
expect
like
to see you
Zuko from
back on
Avatar.
duty
This
once you're
person
fully
who
recovered.
a bit, because like
Yeah,
I
about
see
that.
like Zuko, he's an angry person, but he always
I was
stands up
thinking
for
about
himself.
going
Like
AWOL.
the only person, literally the only person. Well, not true, but like he'll literally stand up to
Yeah,
anybody, no matter
Thomas
how
told me
dangerous they
all
are.
about
Like,
that.
and not in a cocky way, but like an honorable
Untrustworthy
way. I'll
one.
stand my ground. Like especially when he stood up.
What
Like
the
this is kind
hell
of like
gives you the
Zuko standing
gall
up to
to even
Zhao in a
try to pull off
sense.
a maneuver like that?
Um,
Don't you know
Commander
that I
Zhao
make
in
the rules
season
around
one
here? I'm
of
in
just like
charge
I don't
of
care if
this
I'm
team.
younger.
I
Like
tell you what
like
you
I
can
will
and
like he
cannot
has this sense
do,
of like that's
you
with
are
Gates. Like
not
they both have
abandoning the
this
team.
sense of
Abandoning the team,
self-respect.
you need to take a good fucking look in
And
your
like that's what I
mirror
love about
and
Gates. He's not
realize that you
afraid
abandoned the
to
team
like tell
because you
somebody
are the
off.
shittiest
And I think
team
that's
leader
Wilbur's
ever.
biggest weakness because it
You're
hurts his
selfish,
ego.
you don't regard the safety of your squad members, you're rarely on the battlefield,
Like somebody
unsupported,
actually
and
watches
overall
Wilbur,
just a
what he
shit
does,
poor
and
leader.
basically gives him a reason,
You know,
a reason you
Gates,
suck
I
speech.
always hated you. I mean, out of you, Claire, and Miller, you were secretly my least favored. Don't get me wrong, you were the strongest in battle. But
And I just,
always
again,
had this
another
feeling
argument.
that you would
But I
somehow
love
keep
this
down
exchange
all
of
of
like
us.
you were strong, the
With
strongest,
your
but like I
vision,
really never liked you. I
fucking
love
attitude,
like this
you
like
have single-handedly
kind of talk where there's
broken
no
this
going
team.
back.
The team was already broken right from the start. All you wanted was for us to be on the same page, on your page. You don't care about us, and now you're getting exactly what you deserve. The squad mates you tried to control are now thinking for themselves. I don't.
And yeah, it's kind of like a big revelation about like all the reds and blues are finally like questioning things like, okay, what's going on here? Gates talking about like some white guy, some alien. There is some strange stuff. The blues are like, is that stuff that the alien said was true? They're like kind of, they're all entering a stage of no going back, and they don't even know it, unfortunately.
Game on. Ah, fuck!
I wish I could do that a little differently.
What the hell? You shot me!
Because shot came and his arms weren't
asshole.
raised. Just little things like that. I wish I could kind of go back and redo.
Oh, fuck. What are you doing? Turning you in for court-martial. I can't let you go unpunished. For attempting to go AWOL? I was gonna say that you already did go AWOL, and that you
I
also
just
performed
like
theft of
making
team
Wilbur
inventory.
appear so weak
But you're
here. Like he would
lying.
stoop this
Plus,
low.
you fucking shot
know.
me. Go against me again, and I'll shoot your other arm.
Like he
I'll make
thinks
you a proper
he's one of those people. He thinks he's
I'll drop
intimidating
everything.
and strong, but he's
You
really
admit
just
that your
he's
vision
really
was
just
just
petty.
a silly joke. Fuck you. It's been a pity knowing you, Gates. Wilbur! Man, he was annoying.
Hey, is everything okay? Oh my gosh.
Claire hitting him in shock.
Miller?
Yeah, the kind of
Thomas!
big scene here of real danger.
Stop
And,
crying.
setting up with, like, Ichabod was attacked the same way, but, like, he could have died if it wasn't for Legend and the Lifesaver. And now Wilbur, no Lifesaver, he's gonna die. And okay, and I can talk about this. So Thomas, the reason I killed him off was kind of because I didn't know what to do with him. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do with Thomas. I wasn't the biggest fan of Thomas, so I'm like, I don't know what to do with this guy. I don't know. Like, I just didn't know, and I didn't really like his dynamic with the rest of the team, with the rest of the Reds. So I decided, nobody's really gonna miss him if he's gone. No, like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm like, yeah, nobody's gonna miss him when he's gone. Wilbur, like, that's a big thing, but Thomas, it's like, just an additional casualty, and maybe an extra shocker for the audience, just in case people like knew that Wilbur was gonna die. I wanted to like throw Thomas in there. I'm like, you didn't expect that, did you?
I follow my gut, I'll find McGrath. Either keep up with me or get left
I love the
behind.
lighting in this scene. We're on episode 30.
What about the saying a guardian must
Loved
act
and
on
Lost.
instinct?
That's what I just told you. If I follow my gut,
And
my instinct,
I'm
I'll
talking about
find
world building and
McGrath.
how I'm not great at world building, but this season is full. You're like, this is gonna be a little scene with
Jason, I really
other
need some
Guardians, and I'm
insight
like,
pep talk from you
doing
right
more
now.
world building here. More into the backstory and everything.
Look at what you're doing, Nash. You're so hung up on finding McGrath. Haven't you at least noticed yet that there aren't any
This
guards
episode
left?
was kind of
No
emotional,
one
right?
We're just
Because there's like
immediately
emotion
from
in
one
this
area
episode and
to the
everything like
next.
that. I really tried to, and I hope I
What now, Jason?
still wish I did
What are
a
you
bit
trying
better
to
job
say?
of the character of
That this is
McGrath
all
and
a
like
trap,
somehow
a
showing
setup.
him more and making the audience really fall in love with him. So
We should just
when
say
he's dead, like you get
Don't
that
you
sense from the
fucking
characters,
say it. We've gone too far and
So
worked too
I guess
hard.
I saw
Give up
McGrath
now.
as like York from
Trap
Red
or
vs.
none,
Blue,
I
like
am
this character
going
that
to
if
find
you
him.
you don't never well
Nash, wait.
you don't really see him in the present day. It's always through
Anger won't
flashbacks,
solve it. Oh my gosh.
or time travel or whatever. But they made him likable enough where like even though he was only on like in the show for a short time, present day wise, you
What are they
connect with him
doing
immediately.
here?
York's one of my favorite freelancer characters in RVP.
Find out if he's still alive.
And I love like putting all these little hints of these other Guardians. It really just makes Nash more vulnerable.
If they made it this far,
And
then we must
and
be
it's
getting
interesting,
close.
like this idea of Jason consoling
My
Nash.
condolences.
Remember, use
A
your
little bit more
instinct,
world building
but
here.
think first.
If I were the chancellors, where would I want him to be?
Now, when she says chancellors,
Nash, hold up.
those are characters that
you
one
sure that's
one
the
of the
right
chancellors is
way?
gonna make a little cameo at the end of the season. But here's the
No!
big scene.
Oh my God, Arthur!
Freaking.
No!
And I wish I don't know. I didn't like how his body was just there randomly. It seemed weird to me.
No!
Looking back, I wish I could have done this a better way. But the big inspiration for this scene specifically was the Gears of War 2, like the scene in Gears of War 2 where Dom finds Maria. Like when I saw that scene, I'm talking about Gears of War 2 now, but like when I saw that scene for the first time, that shocked me. If you haven't played the Gears of War series, give it a chance. It's one of my favorite. It probably is it's one of my favorite shooters series, and I do like the story more than Halo. I just connect with it way more than Halo. I'm sorry, and I love Halo, but I love Gears of War so much. But that scene in Gears of War 2, it gave me nightmares. Like after playing it, I'm just like I've never played a game that was this heavy. So I wrote that scene with Nash finding McGrath, and she's telling like her like I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do anymore. That's basically exactly what Dom said in that scene in Gears of War 2, and I just stole it right from there. And even Jason's response was basically Marcus's response. And that's the one thing, right? Like creating shows on YouTube and creating your own stuff, you just take stuff from other properties that you love and incorporate them to your show if you can. Uh, like especially like lines and things like that. It's just so many.
I can see right through you. You're lying.
I.
Give me some answers now.
Okay.
It's very tough to act scared for me. I don't know why. It's I don't know why. I don't know why.
Are hiding something secret.
Just not my. Just when I'm crying or I'm sad. It's hard. You know. It's when I'm writing it. I can kind of in the moment, but sometimes, honestly, a lot of times, if I'm doing a dramatic scene, I really wish I can just give it to another one of my other actors, because they'll obviously do the scene 10 times better than I would.
Stuff you're talking about. I just have these assumptions that the Blues are hiding something that's helping them win.
It doesn't matter now. My target's gone. But I can still complete my mission. I've got all the information I needed.
So, are you letting me go?
No. Where's the fun in that? I got what I
It
wanted.
definitely made the guy in white to just be this sadist character. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill you. Fuck it.
So I am officially relieving you of duty.
Sorry, but he still has some unfinished business to attend to.
Big rescue scene.
Gates, are you okay?
And I just told myself, like, why don't they just kill him there? She even takes the freaking. I don't know why she left the sniper, but she takes the shotgun. Claire. And I've kind of at least like her indication of like, hey, she's becoming the leader now. You know, she's holding the shotgun.
Fearless leader.
We need to get you some help. Shit.
Move.
Boy, I did not know. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. This was gonna be, you know, I
Why?
It was an accident.
anticipated another
Something inside the
fight
safe.
scene,
It was
but it was
reflex.
tough to do.
Shit.
Claire.
I couldn't really think of anything creative, I
My
guess.
vision
Came true. I know. Sorry, I doubted.
Ugh, dumb vision thing. I really wish I would have did something with that. And that's not
He can
I
turn
believe
invisible.
that was
Yeah.
just a fade out.
What's our plan now?
I did that like in my editing in Vegas Pro 11. That wasn't like in game where the character was activating an active camo. That was done in post.
Nash. I was analyzing McGrath's corpse, and
Okay, I don't know if I
structure looked really
maybe I
abnormal.
did in the last commentary, but
His
Jason,
body was infused
one of
with
his
electrical
inspirations was Billy from Power Rangers,
Nash?
Billy Cranston. Just
With me?
I analyzed his body. I always have to make like these smart characters talk like robots for some reason.
But he's in a better place now.
Yeah, a lot of
What we would
I'm
want us to do is
surprised
relay the
how much
information
the
to
red
others
team
already.
gets screen time in this season. Even though
I gotta tell Seal and Dax.
they don't have even though they're not like the main part of the story obviously.
Why?
I'm surprised they got a lot of
Devastate him.
focus and development.
I loved McGrath just like I did. He was like a brother to Seal. You can't tell him.
We can't leave him in the dark about this. He's traveled thousands of miles just to find him, and has nearly gotten himself and others killed because of it.
You're so selfish. How do you think he's going to react when he sees
Oh,
me?
this performance is
Huh?
awesome. It's
What do you
amazing.
think Seal will do? Worst case scenario, he'll kill all of us out of anger. Hell, he'll definitely give away our position.
And you call me selfish? Seal has the right to see this with his own eyes.
Fine. Go ahead. Don't say I didn't warn you.
It's the right thing to do.
What happened to Jason? What did I do with Jason?
Dax, Seal, get down here.
I know later.
Roger.
We'll get to later scenes, but Jason definitely has focus in this season compared to season 1 and probably the following seasons as well.
Whoa. This place is a lot bigger than I thought it would be.
Again, I love this yellow lighting here. Just makes things seem so uneasy.
Are you all right?
And I just ignored all the flood stuff, you know.
Is everything
I
alright?
I literally, because I didn't know them, like I didn't want to include them into the story. I'm just like, ignore it for fuck it.
McGrath?
Okay, so originally
Oh, no.
this episode had Trocadero's song First Wave.
Oh my gosh.
But it got copyrighted. And I'm actually kind of glad I took out the song because it just like for that song First Wave, it's so connected with Red versus Blue. When you use it and when I use it in my stuff, like it's because I like, oh man, this would be so cool if I use this. It's only like cool to me. Like to the audience, it's probably they'll probably think of RVB, and I don't want them to think of RVB.
Hey Seal, did you find anything in here?
And then I just later on I changed it to
Seal?
the song, this piece called Sunset at Glengorm, I believe,
Okay.
by Kevin MacLeod. This is I like this transition, you know.
Seal! Seal, wait! Seal. You're gonna be fine.
Man, I'm
Okay?
bawling,
Everything's
jeez.
gonna be alright.
I was a little, not too upset, but I was a little upset that like the gunfire ended prematurely. Like it didn't last the whole scream.
Did you see something? I don't know.
Oh, here we go with movement proposition, the music in the background, which is associated with, it's kind of like the
There's
Red Team
nothing
theme.
there.
Red Team's action
But
theme.
I thought... I could have sworn I saw something. Shit, he's over there!
Gates, stop it! You're wasting bullets.
Gonna be honest,
That's what he
not a
wants
huge
you to
fan
do.
of this episode.
Well, we
Especially
can't
because
just
the
stand here and
penultimate
wait. He'll
episode,
pick us off.
the characters aren't moving, they're just in one
Gates!
place.
Are you okay?
Do I look okay?
Hot armor, essentially. I would have at least made the
Where's
characters
my other arm?
move or something, you
Hang
know,
in there. I'm
um,
gonna get you out of this.
or just make it shorter. And my performance as Claire just does not
Did you
help.
see him? Where did he go?
Look.
Even the
If you wanted to
title of
kill
this
us,
episode,
you
Ghost
would've
That
done it
Linger,
already.
obviously is
So
a
what are you waiting
reference
for?
to
Oh,
the
are you giving up
Trocadero
already?
album. Great album, by the
Too
way.
much fun. I like to
I would
kill
have,
my victims before
I would
I
have
finish them off.
renamed
You're not gonna get away with this.
I would have retitled the
Why are
episode
you here?
"Ghost
What
That
device are you looking
Lingers,"
for? Who's
so
your
it's not a
target?
complete ripoff, but like
So
it still makes sense because ghosts
it'll
that
all
linger.
unfold in due time.
There's only, I mean,
What does
because
that
Guy White's
mean?
in quote unquote
Ah.
invisible.
Claire,
He's just one singular ghost, you know. So ghosts
he said
doesn't make sense.
Gates, you need to take it.
He said the device contains special powers. He said it can produce energy for living beings and objects.
What?
Fuck! I hate Tattletale.
I guess that kind of made it like a tradition where Gates is gonna get
Gates,
hurt
I promise. I'm
at the
gonna
end
get
of
you
like
out of
each
here.
season.
No, you're not. But you need to get out of here. You can still escape and save yourself.
Don't say things like that.
Ugh.
I'm not
This is
doing
one
it.
thing where I wish I had a different voice actor for Claire at this point.
And then you can make a run for it.
And yeah, I haven't really talked about
to the
that. You know,
ghost
like
and
with
find
voice
someplace to
actors, I'm
hide.
like, I think
Then
I
maybe
only,
you
I
can help.
really just wanted to deal with one voice actor. You know, because I was always hesitant
isn't
to
enough
get.
time.
I'm still kind of
You need to
hesitant to
get
get
out of
voice
here.
actors because there's like a lot of work that I have to do to just
You have
make
great
everything
leadership skills.
smooth and prepared for
You've
them.
always done things to benefit
And when I'm voicing it, I could honestly, I could just slack off, like
Thanks for
blah,
believing.
blah, let's do whatever. But if I have voice actors, I gotta have them have a deadline. I gotta give them a
Isn't
deadline,
that
and
sweet?
you know, I gotta make sure I actually release
Cut it
the
out.
episode for
Shut
them.
up, bitch.
Because there's some times where
Nobody
I've
calls
done
for
voice
that.
work for other people, but
The underdog
I'll
tried to
send
play
them my
hero.
audition. They'll say like, "Oh yeah, great," and then I'll never
Is that
know
the best you
if
could do?
if they've actually went through with the project or not. You know.
So, you want to mess with the bad boys?
So I'm at least glad that like
Gates, no.
like for the voice actors I got, they were able to see the entire
You're a persistent little
like
bastard,
season
aren't you?
through, even if it took
Okay,
years.
then.
You know, they were there
Survive
from the
this.
beginning to the end, essentially.
Claire, run. Oh, I love my job.
Ooh. I thought that was pretty. I thought that was great.
Miller?
Nobody messes with my friends, especially not some sadistic, psychopathic, non-existent, engineered jackass like
I just
you.
now realized this is basically how Wilbur was beating on Miller at the beginning of the season, and now Miller's doing it to somebody else.
Miller! You saved us.
Yeah, I figured that.
And I
dope
thought
could
this
use
would
for
be a
something.
great character moment for
Alright.
Miller to be
You
like,
guys
"Hey, let me
okay?
think for myself and save my
I'm
teammates."
fine, but I don't know if Gates is gonna make it.
I can hear you over there.
We gotta call HQ to send a medical team.
There's not enough time. Thomas still has his medical kit inside the base. We could use that instead.
Thomas.
Mourning the loss.
Yeah. Rest in peace, guys.
But
Oh.
I guess.
Thomas, I guess, but Wilbur deserved it. He was an
I mean, I didn't really have a choice. Like, I think
Gabe,
I
come on, man.
maybe
The
at
least
one
you could
point
do is
had
show
it
some
where like the
respect.
guy in white would just disappear, and
Whatever.
he would just like appear later on in some
I'll
other
tell
like
you the whole
like
story later.
he would
But
appear
I
later
guess I
on the
should
next
inform
season
HQ
somehow.
about their deaths. And we should hold a eulogy for Wilbur and Thomas.
I don't know.
Maybe bury their bodies behind
I don't
the
know.
base.
I don't know why.
I think that's a good idea.
I think it was better to just kill him
But-
off. You know.
What about this guy? What do we do with him?
And just to give an excuse for why that hole is there in the middle of the base. Now this, I like this idea of Miller taking the weapon. I just basically turned Miller into Tucker. That's kind of that's really it. Because one thing I liked about Red vs. Blue, and Tucker's a character in Red vs. Blue. You know, the show, which is based in Halo, it doesn't really use the energy sword that much, and that's one of the most iconic weapons in Halo. You know, it's used very rarely, really. You know, like because you have to remind yourself, like as an audience member, I have to remind myself, oh, there's only like one character that holds this weapon, and I kind of did it somewhere here, the same thing.
Sergeant is kinda
But interestingly, in the
dead, and our engineer is
well,
also
when we get to the
kinda
season,
dead.
the next season,
And
I'll
right
talk
now
about
we
it.
need medical assistance for
Sorry,
injured
just a
bodies.
lot of stuff that I can jump ahead with, but I kind of want to just stick to this season.
Did you say your engineer is dead?
Now, this HQ operator guy is voiced by me.
Well,
I tried to use a southern accent again, but this HQ operator appears, I think.
But supposedly they went
I like the idea of like these
Oh,
guys keep calling the
that's
same
strange.
guy, the same kind of
engineer
guy
just
with the
came
kind of
straight to
country
our base
accent.
and
Like
just
every character
started
keeps calling
working.
the same one guy.
Huh.
Like he's the only guy
Well, I'm
in
gonna have to
HR or
make a
whatever.
phone call. Anyway, regarding your injured squad mate, I'm afraid that our medical team won't be able to quickly assist you because of your location. With those harmful Guardian towers surrounding the area, we'll need a few days to shut them all down before it's safe to send medical assistance.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Like,
well, that's
just
okay.
given the
We can
explanation
wait.
of like, oh, the
Thank you.
Guardian towers,
Well,
like
you're very welcome.
HQ can
And
shut
as
them
a final
down,
announcement, because your
or sometimes
sergeant has
forget to
recently
shut them
passed
down.
away, you are now officially
Just
appointed
some,
as
I don't
the
know, just some kind
temporary
of
leader your
explanation.
team until further notice.
Thank you.
Here's
I
Claire
mean,
getting what she
roger
wants.
that.
Will that be all, Sergeant?
And I
Brown?
kind of like the idea of like, hey, how about we let the
Yeah,
female
yeah.
character be the sergeant? I think
That'll
that
be
would be
all.
pretty different
Just
and
the
cool.
medical team.
Roger that. We'll send medical assistance as soon as possible. Over and out.
And you know, like I do like to see the idea like she's like this young. She's kind of this is like her becoming a Jedi Knight moment.
I am a sergeant now.
I heard. So, does that mean like you're my superior?
I believe so.
Oh, great. What are
And now we are definitely at the end of
orders?
this season. This is the last scene for the Reds.
We won't be getting medical help anytime soon. So we need to help Gates as best as we can. Come on, let's grab that medical kit. We're not out of this yet.
And this little shot came out with these two, like how I said earlier, like having two characters walk is tough. So doing that, I was like, whew, it came out pretty well. And this little hint of the sonar scanner, still kind of like a call it a tracking device as well. So you know, someone may be coming back, or someone new may be coming to Sandbox.
I know you really
And here we have
about McGraw.
the finale for season
Loved you
2,
like a brother.
where Seal just goes ape shit.
I'll never see him again. I can't bring him back.
He wouldn't want to come back this way. But now he's in a better place. Watching over us.
No! McGraw! I couldn't repay him. I couldn't do what he did for me.
Now I really had to make sure, like, cry and be emotional in this episode, and it was tough. You know, even with your voice acting, you know, I mean, that's why I love working with voice actors.
Damn it!
Because I mean, they make it seem so easy, and it's at least for me, it's tough.
Seal, I'm so sorry. I loved him too.
No,
What?
don't be. The ONC did this. They took him away.
And I've always been interested in the
Seal?
title of the episode,
It's gonna
Hero
be
Down.
okay.
Because Steel Hero, he is down.
Seal?
I'm being serious. I heard somebody in there. Are you sure? 100%.
Wait, I heard it too.
Move up. Quietly.
Looking back, like, this scene was so over the top.
You hear that?
It was just too much. It was just too
We
much.
know you're in there. Come out now. Show yourself. We're gonna give you 3 seconds. If you don't come out by then,
We're gonna put a bullet through your brain.
1.
It's very hard for the ONC to come
Two.
across as intimidating this season, at least.
They're coming up.
Get ready. 3.
Of course, he has a flamethrower,
Shit! he's
and
got a
the tank starter is
flamethrower.
also a flamethrower.
Open fire! You killed him!
Gosh,
You bastard!
so over the top. I was young. I was young. It's the thing, just like these kind of over the top moments with these first few seasons. And I did want to do something a little different for this finale. I didn't want to have like a big action scene. I did remember the warthog there. Okay, something that's a little funny thing to mention. So when I was machinimating this, and I had Nash, and she was like running up next to Seal. Seal, as she ran, I made her run a little too far ahead, and Seal burned her and killed her. And I was thinking maybe I should like incorporate that into the episode where like Seal accidentally kills Nash and burns her alive, and like just have like, oh, okay, well, this is a way to, you know, not have to deal with voice actors and everything like that, and like have her kill and like have Seal just feel all regretful, you know, like. But I'm like, that's just too dark. That's too dark and fucked up. But yeah, like that was like I made Nash run up a little too quick and she got burned and died. Now we have another new character, another new voice actor.
Chancellor, I found the ones you're
This
looking
is
for.
Colonel Bernard, voiced by Jack F. Really amazing voice actor, great writer as well. And he was a big, he really made this character Bernard. He really did. He added so much, and it was one of the few actors that actually improvised some of his lines. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. You know, it just makes me more excited to write characters like this, because Bernard, I would write him and he would just add his own spin to it. So props to Jack
Roger
F.
that, Chancellor. Over and out.
What's the word, sir?
Men,
He's the ones the Chancellor has been looking for, and he wants them alive. So let's move out.
You heard the man. Let's move. Mount up.
So interesting. And again, the Chancellor, who's mentioned previously, is voiced by me this season. Now the final end of the season. Okay, obviously this is Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival, but this is actually a cover by Chris Wilkins I just found on YouTube. This is back then. And I tried finding something to honestly replace this for this movie edit, but I just couldn't find anything that worked, unfortunately, with vocals and everything. Finding royalty-free music with vocals is tough and it's painful sometimes. So, if this was the original Creedence Clearwater Revival, I would have added it because I love Fortunate Son. I love that song. But yeah, this is the end. This is Sandguardians Season 2. As you can see, I voice everybody and do everything, and I'm everything in this show. But no, I'm just kidding about that. But yeah, like, this is Sandguardians Season 2, you know. Definitely, like, I call it Season 1 Part 2, but it's definitely more streamlined, a lot more character development, a lot more world building and backstory. And there were some things I wish to go back and do again, but this season brings me a lot of memories and joy. Just a lot of hard work and having voice actors. You know, I took a lot of risks in this season, and it was tough. It was tough to get through, but I'm happy I got through it. And like the previous, you know, just look at all these special thanks to literally all these people who supported me, like really supported me, and to you. Thank you for listening and for watching. I hope you enjoyed this commentary. And yeah, like I said, really just thank you so much for continuing to watch and supporting me. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. The Sandguardians Season 2. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.